I'd like to call the meeting of the Halifax County School Board to order and welcome everyone that's in attendance this evening. I ask that the school board members please check your microphones when you ask to speak and are given permission to do so that everyone here and whoever is watching us on YouTube can hear what we have to say. We will hear each other's opinion, but ultimately act as one. We will speak candidly and courteously to each other and listen to dissenting or different viewpoints with an open mind. We will help each other to depolarize disagreements and depersonalize them. Once we reach a decision or a compromise as a board, we will each support the will of the board in word and in deed. I would now ask for a moment of silence. May we all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The first item of business is the approval of our agenda this evening. And I think all of us have had a moment to at least see the latest. And we have also had one mailed to us by snail mail and by email. So after that, I'm asking for a motion for the approval of this agenda and for a second. So do I hear a motion for this agenda? Thank you, Mr. Camp. Thank you, Mr. Potts. All those, is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 And all who opposed say no. The agenda has been approved. The next item of business is the consent agenda. I ask for a motion to approve the consent agenda and then for a second. Then I will ask for discussion after that.
A motion, Madam Chair, that we approve the consent agenda.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? So I'm going to ask for a vote. All those who are in favor of the consent agenda say aye.
Aye.
And all those who are opposed. The consent agenda has been passed. The next item of business is the citizens' comments. We have 12 individuals this evening who have called in and asked to be put in this particular area on our agenda. Let me explain how this works. Each person who is coming up to speak, we will ask that you give your name, and you will have 3 minutes to express your opinions or your viewpoints. After that, we will thank you for your information and go on to the next person. There are 2 groups that I've been told will also be speaking this evening during this time. A group has 5 minutes, and at the end of 5 minutes, then you will need to stop, and we will again thank you for your input and go on from there. Okay. Dr. Lindberg, will you be timing this? Okay. Let me say one more thing before we go on. There during the citizens' comments, the rules that we follow for our meetings dictates that we have a total of 30 minutes for citizens to speak, either 3 or 5 minutes, depending on what I just explained to you. So we have to come pretty close to stopping you after 30 minutes has gone by. And Dr. Lindberg, will you be keeping up with that also? Okay. Thank you. Yes, Mr. Potts.
I would like for the rule for the 30 minutes to be suspended because of the number of people we have speaking. I think we're going to go over more than 30 minutes.
I think we will too, and we will be lenient, Mr. Potts.
Okay, thank you.
The first individual is Mark Gosney. Is he here? Mark Gosney. Thank you, Mr. Gosney. Would you please come forward, and as soon as you tell us again who you are, you can go ahead.
Good morning. My name is Mark Gosney, and I'm speaking to you tonight as a citizen, a taxpayer, and a voter. First, as a citizen, I observe in amazement sometimes the inability of this board to move forward on important issues while debating or arguing over less impactful subjects. As an example is the inability to move forward in what the overwhelming majority of constituents in our county see as the top priority, and that's the facilities of our schools. In my workplace, we have core values that we guide our daily decisions. It's be safe, be honest, be innovative, be respectful, be collaborative. I suggest that this board adopts those same core values. Focus on what is important. The safety of our children is at risk with the environment of some of our schools. They're old, they don't have the systems in place in HVAC, for instance, to provide and meet the current indoor air quality standards. If each board would act with honesty and integrity in every decision that you consider, put aside personal grudges or political agendas and focus on the most impactful topics, this board could achieve great goals. Let all the businesses of this board be conducted with respect and collaboration. I was honored to serve on the Facilities Committee back in 2017, 2018. This committee did a lot of good work. They came up with ideas of accept recommendations of architects and engineers. So they have a high-level plan that can accomplish the needs of this county. We have funding in place. A lot of people worked hard to get the tax approved, went to Richmond, did things that people thought that could not be done. And some of these school members went with that group. So we have a design, a tentative design. We have money in place. Now we need action. So as a taxpayer, the constituents of this county, have worked very hard to provide the funding necessary. But another negative impact of the inaction of the board is that the cost of construction has gone up 4.5% every year from 2014 to 2019. And then last year has gone up exponentially and continues this year. So the cost of construction
30 seconds
has greatly exceeded the budgets put in place. So I strongly urge you to consider renovation. Renovation would help keep the budgets down and allow more money left over for the elementary schools. And finally, as a voter, I challenge you to conduct the business of this school board with respect and integrity and cooperation to achieve this goal. I know each member of the board desires to improve the quality of the students, or you would not have desired to be on this board. So I thank you for your service. Thank you.
time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gosney. The next citizens will be Steve and Teresa Davis. Yes. Mr. Davis, you will have 5 minutes.
Thank you. All right, good evening. My name is Teresa Eanes Davis. I'm here to express my opposition to the critical race theory that curriculum, to the House Bill 145 and the Virginia Senate Bill 161, and also to the building of a new school facility. Those who believe in God, I ask you to bow your heads with me now in prayer. Our Heavenly Father, we gather here tonight to address issues facing our school system that will greatly affect our children and all the children coming along in the future. Please guide us, direct us as parents, grandparents, teachers, school staff, board members to do what is best in your eyes for our children. Protect our children, protect our country, guide our leaders to make godly decisions for our country. Let us not see each other by skin color or sexual orientation. We are all individuals, unique, made, designed by you. I ask this in your holy name, amen. What I'm concerned about is that on any given day, an example, a boy could say he's identifying as a girl and go into the girls' bathrooms. School staff cannot legally question him about that. What's going to stop him from assaulting our girls? As teenagers, when girls starting their menstrual periods and boys walking in, what then? The girl's going to be extremely embarrassed. The boys make fun of them. Teenage boys go in and may be exposing themselves to these girls. Who will be held responsible when our children are abused, sexually assaulted, etc.? Imagine the psychological damage to these children. The best response to this, in my opinion, is to have all private bathrooms. This affords each and every child the privacy they deserve. The reason I'm against building $100 million+ school, Halifax County population as of 2019 is between 33,900 to 34,500. That's down from 35,000 in 2017. The median age is 46.5 years old. The median household income is $42,669. The poverty level is 13.9%. The number of employees in this county is 14,700. So you want to put the financial burden of over $100 million onto the shoulders of 14,700 workers. Our schools ranked 56 in the state in 2009-2000 school year under the direction of Mr. Stapleton. Was 67th when Mrs. Herndon took over. They dropped to the lowest of 125th while she was in superintendent. Under Mr. Lindbergh, it has improved from 117th to 84th as of the school year 2018-2019, which is the latest information I could find. We need to focus on our children and teachers to improve their educations. Buildings can come later. And in the last school board meeting, the comment was made that a school needs 175 acres. I would like to find out where this resource is from. Your turn.
Hello, I'm Steve Davis, retired from the school system, 42 years in transportation. That's what I'm really concerned with about this transportation part of sending the boys and girls together on these trips, activity runs at night. I've dealt with this, like I said, over the past years. I was in transportation at all times of night, 9, 10, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. Buses break down. We have new buses now. We had fairly new buses then, but anything new can break down too. And you've got these kids that are like Roanoke, Charlottesville, something happens to the bus, accident, anything can happen. These kids will be out for no telling how long, a couple of hours before help can get to them. Before I've had to go out 11, 12 o'clock at night, carry a spare bus to these buses that's broken down. And these kids are out, they need to go to the bathroom. Most time we've stopped and would get something to eat, and they always got to go to the bathroom. They done drank a lot of drinks, and they need to go to the bathroom. If you got mixed kids on these buses that's broke down, that's going to create a big problem with when you're out there, say out in the middle of nowhere. If you got a good place to stop, it will be fine. But you at these countries, every country where we live, it would make it would be a hardship on the drivers, your teachers, your escorts, whoever's with these children that's looking after them. It's just,
Time.
okay, thank you. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Mr. and Ms. Davis. Our next person is Mr. Donald Wright. You have 3 minutes, Mr. Wright.
All right, thank you. Thanks, everybody, for coming out. I was encouraged to speak after bringing forth and witnessing some events that happened with the high school coach. I don't want to name names. I'm not going to leave that out. I will give you one example of the poor conduct, 3 instances. One of those instances, how many people have worked for bad managers before? Raise your hands. Well, the good part with the student athlete is that she sucks it up and she plays the right spot, gives it her all. And because she did so well, she got held there. One of the games, the coach went to the team and said, hey, I'd like to know if you want to play at this position, come up and tell me. And that's where this student athlete plays on the travel league. So they went up to the coach for the game, said, I really want to play there. I can play that. I play it for my travel league. Coach looked at her, said, who's going to play your position? Like it's her job to find that role. Meanwhile, he had never trained anybody to play there because she played it so well. Then right after that, he rudely dismissed her, walked away from her, didn't say anything, but just walked away abruptly. She went to the assistant coaches and told them what she was telling him. She was following the chain of command. He saw that happen, and before the huddle of that game, he said to her in the huddle, hey, why don't you say who shouldn't be playing in that position? You go ahead, you can say names. I mean, who does that crap, right? Who does that? So my point here is not to complain about little things, but I would like to see in these funds that we're dreaming up for this $200 million school that we need professional development for the teachers. We also need professional development for the coaches. One of the other issues is during senior night, my freshman athlete scored in the game immediately before the team could put the ball in play. She's pulled out. We were told later it's normal practice out here that you let the seniors score before the others. Wait a minute, are we playing to win or are we playing to make sure everybody gets a ribbon? That's my opinion. But I've since talked with the high school coach. We had a meeting as well, the high school principal, and he's going to look into it. But I really think that it benefits us. Everybody needs to up their game. In your private work experience, if you're not up in your game, you're getting overpassed on promotions. As for coaches, we should be building good behaviors for player development. Although only less than 1% goes on to college, we should not be overlooking those athletes. Not that everybody is going there, but we need to make sure that those coaches are handling themselves professionally.
30 seconds.
All 3 of those instances occurred during games and in the huddle and in witness of the players and the coaches. I'd like to see this board start to take steps to ensure that the coaches get annual for new coaches and biannual professional development before they're unleashed on the kids. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wright. Jocelyn Forrest and Marjorie Bowers, HEA representatives, and you will have 5 minutes.
To the chairperson, other members of the school board, Dr. Lindenberg, and fellow citizens of Halifax County, good evening. My name is Marjorie Bowers Stanley, and I'm the president of the Halifax Education Association.
And I'm Jocelyn Forrest. I serve as the vice president of membership. We are here on behalf of Halifax Education Association to address the board's compensation goal. For the past few years, there has been an increase in the conversation about salaries, respect, and appreciation. Many employees, as you already know, have a second job, and some even have a third, to supplement their current salary or rate of pay. Many have been looking at other school districts and have finally made decisions to leave. Some have been even decided to leave the profession altogether in order to support themselves and their family. This mass exodus of employees will impact our students and our school district, but you have the power to improve the employee retention.
For years, our association has advocated for increased funding and competitive salaries for educators of Halifax County. We have always been cognizant of the connection between compensation and teacher recruitment and retention. We have spoken with many of you, as well as members of the Board of Supervisors, about the need for increased funding. Many of you have supported us in advocating for these funds. However, we need you to do more. Our current salary scale addresses the recruitment of teachers, yet our experienced teachers have been forgotten. Currently, a new teacher in Halifax County starts off with a salary of $42,628. A teacher who has served in Halifax County for 15 years makes $44,382. That is a difference of $1,754. That same 15-year veteran can go to Pittsylvania School District and make $48,124.52, or Danville School District and make $52,241. This is not to take anything away from our new teachers, as there is a great need for them. However, the experience and skills of our 10, 15, and 20-year veterans is vital to school climate, student learning, and school accreditation. In addition, we need a competitive salary scale for our support staff. Current compensation for support staff does not adequately reflect their value. This past year's pandemic has been a revelation for many. It has shown society at large the value of teachers, paraprofessionals, custodians, secretaries, technicians, and other public education employees. It has also shown employees the sacrifices they continue to make for their profession, and many have decided that that sacrifice is too great in Halifax County. We urge you to invest in education by increasing employee compensation across the board and move closer to acknowledging our true worth. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies. Alice Willingham, from the VEA representative for Halifax County.
Good evening. Thank you so much for this opportunity to address you tonight. I'm Alice Willingham, the VEA representative for Halifax County. I agree with all of the insights and conclusions from the HEA. I represent members from your neighboring districts in Charlotte, Mecklenburg, Pittsylvania, and Danville. I also represent some virtual Virginia instructors. By reviewing the school year 21-22 salaries for 200-day positions, one can plainly see the discrepancies. Although Halifax has the third highest starting salary of the 6 mentioned, your staff falls behind because Step 1 represents educators with 1 to 6 years of experience, and Step 2 is for those with 7 to 10 years. After a decade of dedicated service, your teachers are only on Step 2. No other regional system groups educators in this way. Furthermore, to achieve the highest step, one must be at 43 years of experience. The standard is 30 years. And at year 30, your system ranks 5 of 6. It also has the largest gap of $12,199 between year 30 and the max on the pay scale. 2 remedies are needed. To improve compensation, this district needs to unbunch all steps so that they match years of experience. 2, the pay scale also needs to be condensed so that staff members reach the maximum salary possible within 30 years. Employees rarely get to year 30. Making your step 29 at 43 to 50 years of service is essentially unobtainable. After 3 decades, all employees should have mastered their crafts and thus should be compensated at the highest level that their pay scales allow. And in light of recent challenges, utilizing respect, kindness, appreciation, compassion, and understanding would improve all work environments. Not only are these considerations well-deserved for your employees, they are free. They cost nothing, yet are priceless when received.
30 seconds.
As always, the Halifax and Virginia Education Associations are here to help in any way possible. Thank you.
Thank you. Liz Francis.
My name is Liz Francis, and at this time I would like to withdraw my request to comment until a later date in meeting when the topic I wish to discuss is on the agenda. Thank you.
Thank you. Ronnie Vaughn.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Ronnie Vaughn. I'm here tonight as a concerned citizen. I've seen on TV, read in newspapers about what's happening in other counties in the state of Virginia and across this nation with critical race theory, Ed Equity Virginia, and the 1619 project being implemented into the school curriculum. And I just want to know whether these topics are being put into Halifax County curriculum. I've done a lot of research on Ed Equity and 1619 project, and I have a summary sheet that I would like to give to y'all tonight, and I asked that if y'all would please read through it and look at the information, and it's your duty and responsibility to let the parents know and the citizens of Halifax County whether you agree with putting this information into our children's education here in Halifax County. I'd be glad to speak with any of you anytime on these matters. I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Vaughn. Thank you. Norma Cheney.
Hi, I'm Norma Cheney, and I'm 82 years old. I don't have any children here, but I am so worried about our children. This critical race theory, it is the most dangerous thing that we could have in Halifax County. Each person should get involved and find out what critical race is. It is teaching our children that government takes over God. And when God is stepped out of that, the parents has the responsibility to teach about race. We in Halifax County, I cannot believe we are called racist. I've got wonderful, wonderful black friends that I love dearly. And I can't imagine. I'm sure nobody's perfect. I'm sure we all have had our problems. But I beg you to please look up critical race and the sexual indoctrination. That if we parents and grandparents, we need to realize that we cannot deal with critical race. And can I give a little time to, I have a speech impediment, and Teresa Davis will take the rest of my time. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Cheney. Some points that we're wanted to address with this critical race theory. By the Webster Dictionary definition, critical, inclined to criticize severely or unfavorably, exercising or involving careful judgment or judicious evaluation. Theory is a hypothesis assumed for the sake of argument or investigation. Is an unproven assumption. Is an abstract thought. So these, I don't think, have a place in our classrooms. Critical race theory is only a concept. It teaches children that they are defined only by race, not as individuals. It teaches them to hate each other, to hate their country, that individualism,
30 seconds.
rationalization. Well, one thing I wanted to bring up, some examples. In Buffalo, New York, kindergartners now, 5-year-olds, were forced to watch a video of dead black children and told those children that racist police and that the state-sanctioned violence might come and kill them at any time. This is what this critical race theory has done to 5-year-olds in Buffalo, New York. Missouri, they claim that.
Time.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Davis. Becky Donner.
Good evening. I'm Becky Donner, a retired English and theater teacher at Halifax County High School for 35 years, 31 of them in the present school building. Over my years of teaching and working with Halifax County Little Theater there, in addition to the time I spent after retirement substituting, volunteering, or attending numerous events, I know that high school very well, better than a whole lot of people. Not only did I work there all day, but I came back and spent many an evening and weekend over there during play rehearsal times. My one request to you, after having spent all that time in the building, is simple. Please build a new one. I don't say that lightly. I say it quite seriously after spending healthy summers at home each year to go back to work, and immediately many teachers starting to have allergy issues. And I was not the only one by far. There was something wrong with that building. For many years in the auditorium, the roof leaked every time it rained, pouring lots of water on the auditorium seats and carpeting. After a rainy night, if Little Theater came in to do a Sunday matinee, the orchestra pit would have a foot of water in it, and we would have to rush out to find a way to draw the water out before the show opened. The auditorium lighting system was outdated when the school was built, and that was told to me by the company installing it, saying our school system had chosen the much outdated but much cheaper lighting system. You would be hard-pressed to find any other high school in Virginia that had a lighting system as outdated as ours. Everything in that auditorium is now dirty from age, moldy, and sickly. And there's no blame on the custodial staff. This is just what time does to an already sickly built building. The classroom where I taught the second half of my time there was the original large choral room that was turned into 3 classrooms with a drop ceiling. Many a day in class, the spiders would drop down from the ceiling and dangle down in a student's face. Talk about a disruption. There are more hiding places in that school than anyone would realize. Students would talk about finding others having sex and using the bathroom openly in the stairwells. But it's because there are so many routes to move around in that building, and some of them might be unknown to some of you.
30 seconds.
But once you've lived in that building for as long as many of us, you would realize how sickly it is and unfriendly to keep an eye on the student population. Please, for the love of all our students and those who work in the system, build a new building. All of our students would benefit from that. People's lives depend on it. I truly care what is best for Halifax County. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Would you please come up to the podium and state your name, and you will have 3 minutes.
Hi, Board. My name is Simon Jones. As most of y'all are aware, I wrote y'all all a letter a couple months ago regarding teacher pay. As a husband of an educator, it makes me no prouder than to watch my wife teach these kids of this community. You see them at Walmart, they look up to you. You're held to a higher standard. They look up to you. But my question is, why as a board aren't we doing more for our teachers? Why as a board are we relying on spouses to make sure that our teachers are taking care of our community? This week again, our teachers were once again let down with the summer school. Elementaries having to go longer. Not once was a teacher thought about plans, the kids they had to pick up, nor were they thought about the second jobs they may have. 1 hour doesn't seem like a lot to many of you, but for a teacher, it's a lot of time. So, as a husband of an educator, I stand up and I have a voice for my wife. I promised to do that when I married her, and I'm fulfilling my goal now. So as y'all, as a board, please have a voice for our teachers and get them where they need to be. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Is there anyone else? Please come up and state your name, and you will have 3 minutes.
Thank you all for the opportunity to speak tonight. My name is Dana Cook. I am a business owner here in South Boston, and I also pastor a church. And I want to address this thing. I thank Simon for what he said. His wife was an educator. And I think that's the job that the teachers have to do, is educate, not indoctrinate. So to tell their children that you have to accept the fact that another child may be undecided of what sex they want to be, whether they want to be a boy or girl, that's just not right. And I think that every parent, when there's a problem like that, then I say that the parent is the problem. And I don't mean that critically against anybody. I'm just saying that you would have told me 20 years ago that we would be here discussing this situation that's already happening throughout the other states, I would have said you're crazy. One thing I do remember, and I said something to Andy Lowry and to my brother, that I went to high school here, and I remember the boys had a boys' restroom, and the girls had a girls' restroom. There was no problem with transgender. So why are we at this place right now? And here's the reason I believe that we're at this particular place in America, is because America has forgotten God. We've put God out the door, and we don't want God in the house anymore. Madeline O'Hare took prayer out of school in 1963, I think it was. And here we are today having to discuss a situation like this. It's appalling to even stand here and say that we have this problem in America. I was reminded of something that I preached on Sunday morning. Moses was a man that went to the mountain to hear from God. Joshua was the one that was below Moses, and he would see what Moses was seeing and gotten captivated by that and wanted to be where Moses was. But the children of Israel were at the bottom of the mountain, and they were making play, and they were not worshiping God. They forgot God, and they made a golden calf and said, "These be the gods that brought you out of Egypt." We have got to a place in America where God is no longer wanted. So to say to us today that we have to accept the changes that have taken place, I say, let's go back to the Bible. Let's go back and do what God's asked us to do. And we put God off too long. It's time to bring God back into America, back into the public school. I thank you that we pledged allegiance to the American flag tonight. And we had a moment of silent prayer. And I remember in school that we prayed out loud. And I would like to see us come together as parents and say, I've got grandchildren, and I'm not going to put up with some of the stuff that I see going on in America today. And I appreciate your time. Thank you so very much. I really hope and pray that the board takes this very seriously about the transgender restrooms and all of this stuff that we see going on. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Cook. We're at 30 minutes. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak? We have 2 more people. Okay, we go ahead. We go ahead.
Good evening. My name is Marquia Hamlet. I just want to say I thank the board and I thank Dr. Lindberg for everything that you do. I'm so grateful for our teachers. I'm here tonight to reinforce the need to build a new school. I went to the General Assembly gladly, and I would gladly go back again. but I cannot see them doing anything else for us if we don't support what they already approved. The county already voted for it. The need is there. That school is not in a good condition. It is not accessible. The track is in a terrible condition, the athletic fields, we know the need is there. The county knows the need is there. If we want to see our teachers stay up, our teachers do what they do because they love the students. But how can we encourage our teachers to stay when the building is causing breathing issues? When the students have breathing issues, I've seen students have allergy issues just from coming into the building. We know the need is there. The money is coming. The money's there. The tax has already been approved. Let's just do it. It will encourage businesses. It will encourage people to come. If we're concerned about the population, I personally see why a person would not want to come and put their student in that school, because if I wasn't from here and if I didn't love Halifax so much, I would have a hard time letting my children go to a school that has a track that look the way it does, that has a school that's not accessible, because anybody can be in a wheelchair. This, where I am, can be anybody's child. I wouldn't be comfortable if I knew that my child would need an aid just to get in the building. And they cannot get on the auditorium stage. It is hard to get around. There's only one restroom. The need is there. If you want teachers coming, there might be a teacher that is disabled that would love to come. But even getting in the building from the teacher parking lot is not accessible. It's not practical. So all I'm saying to the board is that it is time. Make the move. Build the school. Do the thing for Halifax that we all know that we need. I appreciate your time. I really, truly hope that we are prepared to move and do what we need to do to take care of our students. Thank you all.
Thank you, Ms. Hamlet. Would you please state your name, sir?
Yes, ma'am. My name is Doug Ballou. I'm a citizen of our county, and I'm the pastor of North Fork Baptist Church. Greetings, Madam Chair, members of the board, Dr. Lindenberg. It's an honor to be here. Let me just say up front, I feel hypocritical that I've waited till now to be a citizen to come. This is something I should do more. And so, having said that, I'm glad we have a forum to be able to talk about some things. I don't know all this is going to be dealt with. I heard there were a couple of different subjects. And I'll just say this, that I'm not in favor of any theory from any group, whoever it may be, that will divide us. I'm not in favor of that at all. And I don't think it is wise to do so, as several others have said. I realize there are those on the other side of that subject. But let me say this. A temperature gauge only checks temperature, whatever that is. A thermostat knows the temperature, but then it does something about it. I want to be a thermostat. And there's two things I would like to say to you, ladies and gentlemen, and to our crowd. We understand some of the problems, not just these. We've all lived through COVID. I think everybody's on edge. We've allowed different things to divide us. We are all citizens of this county. And we all, I believe, in one way or another, want to see the best things happen. So we have a redo now. Let's take advantage of it. Two things very quickly. Number one, in the faith community, because of things that have happened, I think we feel like we're at arm's length with you guys. I don't want to be. There are things I believe we could put in place, either on campus or off campus, that would meet constitutional muster. I've seen it in other states and all, where we can offer something you can't, just like you can what we can, and that is a spiritual need. All of these things that are vexing us, whether it is racism, bullying, and on, those aren't the problems. The problem is a spiritual heart problem, and until that is addressed, nothing will change. We'll chase our tails. We'll be here in a year, and it will divide us, and that is a shame, because we're all members of this county. All who are believers, we're one in Christ. We should not allow ourselves to be divided. We need to be together. So I will be glad to talk with any or all of you that we could begin a process that would allow us to work together to
seconds.
help the children of this county. That's what I'm in favor of, and I hope you are too. And it would be a discussion, be a lot of hard work. But thank you for this opportunity. I pray you'll give consideration to this. God bless you.
Thank you, Mr. Ballou. Do we have anyone else? The board wants to thank all of you for coming forth and giving us your opinions. We thank you very much. The next item on the agenda is the superintendent's report and information items. Dr. Lindberg.
Good evening, and fellow board members, and welcome tonight, and welcome to the citizens of Halifax County, and we appreciate you coming out tonight. It's nice to see so many folks here who care about public schools, and it's refreshing to see a decorum that is so congenial, and we appreciate that. I always start with our school board goals, and I'll start with that first. Our 6 goals are to develop career and college-ready citizens. Second goal is to continue to emphasize student learning and maintain full accreditation of all schools. Our third goal is to modernize the high school and elementary school facilities. Our fourth goal is to improve compensation for all employees in the school division. Our fifth goal is to provide an equitable education opportunities for all students based on policy and data. Our sixth goal is to strengthen and facilitate engagement between schools and families. Just a couple of other items tonight is one, I want to go back to June and thank our students in our schools, and I know we're going to recognize our athletic teams here in a minute, but there's one thing that stands out about Halifax County is how hard the Comets compete, and watching our girls, I didn't see all the athletic teams play in the fall, but I did see soccer, baseball, and softball, and to see softball and baseball compete their guts out in the playoffs is just unbelievable. I love seeing them die for loose balls, hustle through down the first base line and so forth, and they always make us proud, and you got to love the Comets. The last thing is the two issues that came up tonight. The Halifax County School Board has not adopted a policy on transgender use of bathrooms, locker rooms, etc. The Virginia General Assembly has mandated that the Virginia Department of Education create policies for transgender use of bathrooms and locker rooms. This policy has not been disseminated to school divisions. There are guidelines. The Halifax County School Board will review the model policy as well as model policies developed by the Virginia School Board Association. We have not done this at this time. It has not been given to us at this time. Halifax County personnel has not been trained in critical race theory. The Virginia Department of Education has mandated a new performance standard for instructional personnel to be implemented in 2022-2023, which we have begun some work on. This is Standard 6, Performance Standard 6, which is culturally responsive teaching and equitable practices. In addition, Halifax County personnel are focused on School Board Goal 5, which is to provide equitable education opportunities for all students based on policy and data. I really appreciate everybody coming out tonight. Thank you. That's my comments.
Okay. Finally, I'm left with some chair remarks, and I want to just mention 2 things. First of all, I want to congratulate Andrew Abbott for being in the draft today. He is a Halifax County native, attended Halifax County High School, Senator Jennings Elementary School, and I know that his family is very proud of him. He was drafted to the Cincinnati Reds, and I just wanted to bring that to your attention. I think it's a great thing for him. From one emotional thing to another. I am very pleased to see all of you here. I know that looking out into the eyes of everyone here, that there are differences, that we have our own opinions. We feel very strongly about them. What I would like to say to all of you is to please come back. I would love to see this room filled every month. It shows us that we have your best interest. It shows us that we have your support. It shows us that you're going to keep us accountable for what we do for the children of Halifax County. So I encourage you to please come back every month. Share your views. Be supportive of our children, because that's what we all are interested in here. Our children. Okay. Next item is the recognitions. Dr. Lindbergh, no, excuse me, Mr. Lewis.
Good evening, Madam Chair, board members, Dr. Lindbergh. It's certainly our pleasure to be here tonight during these difficult times. Something we always seem to get right is our teams, our different organizations, whether it's theater, clubs, whatever. We always seem to perform well when our kids are together and working hard together for a common goal. So we thank you for this opportunity tonight to recognize several of our teams. I'll call our teams forward, and Mr. Lauder, I'm sure, wants to make some remarks about the different things they achieved this year. But as Dr. Lindbergh said earlier, we're all comets here. We're a one high school town, and it's something that we're very proud of to see our students, not only our student athletes, but our students in general achieve. Many of these folks could have easily gave up in their classes and not been eligible, not knowing if they were going to have a season or not. You know, their backs against the wall. They're doing school that typically is only done at the college level right here in our county, oftentimes without the things they need, without the connectivity. But at the end of the day, they're winners. And they're winners in the classroom first, and then they were winners on the athletic field this year. So I'm going to turn it over to Coach Lauder and let him recognize the different teams. But I just want to say first, I'm very proud of each and one of our student athletes who are here tonight.
I'd like to thank the board and Dr. Lindbergh for letting us come in and recognize these young men and young ladies for their accomplishments. This was a very difficult athletic season because of COVID. Very, very limited winter season. Abbreviated fall season that was played out of order. But luckily, we got to play spring because they missed it last year. So we were very fortunate, even though it was a shortened schedule, which presented challenges in itself. But all of our spring sports teams did well. Boys soccer record was not as good, but saw improvement throughout the year. Girls soccer had a very respectable 6-3-1 record. Did a good job. But we had 3 teams that went through the district undefeated, and we had 2 teams, or a team and some individuals that participated in the state. Dr. Lindbergh, where do you want me to bring them as we recognize them?
Just bring them up maybe a team at a time so we can get a picture and so forth. And then if you could also just, our board always looks to hear just some of their accomplishments too.
Yes, yes. No particular order. I'm going to, Ms. Douglas, you want to bring your track people up to start with? Ms. Douglas, we ran an abbreviated schedule. She did real well in the district events. I think she won a couple of district meets throughout the year, and had several that participated in the state tournament or state track meet. Ms. Douglas, you want to say a couple of words? Keep it brief.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for having us here tonight. We did have a very abbreviated indoor season, but thankfully we did have the outdoor season. We had several accomplishments. Many of the athletes competed in the district meet and moved on to regionals. And we had several that even attended, and not just attended, but did well in the state meet. I would like all of you all to step forward. We have a few more than this. We didn't have a lot this year, but what we had worked hard and did a great job. So I want to give you all a big hand, and hopefully you all will give them a big hand. As I said, we competed in the district meet, and all but one athlete qualified for the regional competition. We went to regional competition, and most of the athletes competed to move on to the state. In the state meet, we had one athlete, Alexis Hubbard, who actually placed 8th in the state. I am so proud of each and every one of them, and I am so thankful for the support from the parents, administration, and all of you in the community. We're not going to stay here long, but thank you so much for your support.
Coach, could you tell us what Alexis did and what event and what was her time?
Sure. Alexis won 8th place in the long jump, and her distance was her personal best. Help me, Alexis, I'm getting old here. 16.8 and a half, okay? And I'd like to say that actually she improved every meet she went up in her event. So we're thankful. Alexis is also going to attend Shenandoah College on scholarship this year. Keith Douglas is our coach as well. He's hiding out in the background there. But it's been a pleasure to have him coach with us as well. Thank you all again.
Ms. Douglas, bring them up to the front so they can take a picture.
Okay.
Yeah.
Move to the front. And I'm so happy to see Jaden Waller here too. He was injured in his first meet, but he's been support for us ever since.
Girls softball. Unfortunately, that was the only COVID game we lost this year, so instead of going 12-0, girls softball went 11-0, undefeated during the regular season. Ended up playing the semifinals against Jefferson Forest. Lost a very, very tough game. I think the score was 4-2 against one of the best pitchers in the state. So very proud of their accomplishments, the undefeated season. I will see if Coach Bain wants to say a few words, but did an excellent job during the course of the year. Coach Bain, a couple words.
Madam Chair, board members, Dr. Lindenberg, thank you all very much. It's a complete honor to coach a group of girls that are not only talented, but their character is above anything that you would be able to question. It is so much fun to hang out with them. It sure does make me feel younger every time I'm with them. I want to thank y'all for your support of athletics. I want to thank Mr. Lewis and Mr. Lauder. It's amazing what they did to get spring sports being able to be played this year. But most of all, the girls that are behind us. The middle school team, coached by James Smith, I believe was undefeated. The JV team, coached by Reagan Cannon, was undefeated. And that team, through the course of the regular season, was undefeated. And so, as a whole, our program is intact, and what a great way to establish softball in Halifax County. Classrooms are so important. I've been teaching for 42 years, and I do know the value of classrooms, but the fields and the facilities we have for athletics is just as important of a classroom as anything we have. So these girls are amazing. Please come next year to watch us play again. And again, thank y'all for everything you do for athletics at Halifax County. I know.
Well, they know how to take that group picture.
Boys tennis. Boys tennis was undefeated during the regular season, I think 10-0. Went to the semifinals of the region where they lost to eventual state champion Blacksburg. Small representation here, but the boys tennis team did an outstanding job. Again, as Coach Bain said of his softball team, these kids show tremendous character throughout the year, and it's a pleasure to watch them play. It really is. I probably watch more tennis this year than I have in the past, but just because of the way the schedule worked out. But they did a great job again, going undefeated 10-0. And losing to eventual state champion Blacksburg. Mr. Riddle, would you like to say just a couple words?
First of all, I'd like to thank y'all for having us tonight. We do kind of have a small group tonight. I have several that are on vacation, several that are working tonight, but I do have one that came all the way down from his orientation at Bridgewater tonight, J.T. Francis, their school valedictorian. So, he made sure that he got down here for that tonight, so I certainly do appreciate it. We had a very successful season this year. As Coach Lauder noted, we went 10-0 on the season. This group right here and the group of seniors has never lost a game during the regular season while they've been playing, so that's 4 straight years of that. So we've been very fortunate. This is part of a group that went to the state tournament 2 years ago. We did lose to the eventual state champion in Blacksburg in the semifinals of the regional, so that's the second straight time we've lost to the state champion. So that's not too bad right there. But I can't say enough about this group. They do an excellent job. Coach Michelle Palmore couldn't be with us tonight. She just had her second child, so she's got more important things to deal with tonight than that. But she does an excellent job with us. And we have a great group of kids right here. But I also have to say we have an excellent group of parents. That's part of our success with this program, is that our parents trust us to do what we do. And that's why we've been so successful in the past. So I want to thank these guys and thank you for having us, and looking forward to next year. Thank you.
I just want to make one comment about tennis there, and Coach Riddle in particular. I mean, I'm the son of a coach, and so I understand that Coach Riddle's one of those guys out there that's you're hard to find more coaching 3 sports a year, and all of our coaches do such a good work. But 3 sports, I mean, that is an unbelievable thing, and I mean that is remarkable to continue to do that each year, David. We appreciate that.
Girls tennis also went undefeated during the regular season, going 10-0. They actually got to the regional finals. Lost a very tough match, I think, to Blacksburg also, who has very, very good program, both boys and girls. But again, they're going undefeated during the regular season. They have had put together several good seasons. And let Ms. Hudson.
We've been working hard to catch up with the boys, and we have had now 2 undefeated seasons in a row, with one between we kind of got defeated by COVID. Before that, we were undefeated district champions. We played 1 match that year when we won it, and we played this year, and we were again the Piedmont district champions, undefeated. We had several tough games that could have gone either way, and the girls worked hard to pull those out, 4 of those to be exact. It's a great group of girls. We went to the regionals, and we won one match against Blacksburg. The score was 5-1. When one team gets 5, you stop, but we did win one of those matches. Our number 2, Amanda Duffer, was that victorious person. This year we graduated 5 seniors, our number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, and number 5. So these girls had been with us since they were in 8th grade. Take them on as JV players. Although there's no JV games, they stick with us and practice and get to know the sport. And that really paid off to have them stick with us that long and come through. So if you have not so much to do in the spring and want to come see something exciting, come out and watch them. It is tense. It is tough. They play a very high caliber of tennis. It's great to watch. Next year, we're going to have a building year. I've got some girls who are willing to work with me, though, and if you know any others, then send them our way, and we'll be working with them to build a strong team again. We appreciate all you do to support us. We learn much more than just tennis strategies as we work together with these girls. We do a lot of counseling. We do a lot of family building. Expect to be hearing from these girls as they come back to Halifax County eventually to provide great things for us.
Before I move on, I just want to say what a great job both Ms. Hudson and Coach Riddle do. They do not have a feeder program like most of our sports in our high school does. A lot of these young ladies, the first time they play tennis is when they get to the high school. So they do a lot of work. They spend a lot of time in the off season trying to help these young ladies and young men develop, and all they ask is for some dedication from those student athletes, and then they show every bit as much to try to develop them. So they do a tremendous job in tennis to do what they do, having to recruit them once they get to the high school for the most part. So just want to say thank you to both of those coaches. Last team that we're going to recognize tonight is our baseball team. Baseball team did not go undefeated in the regular season, but had a very, very good regular season. Give Coach Day a tough time. But they did win the region, end up going to the state before losing in the semifinals in a 11-inning game, but lost in 11 innings. Very tough game. Very tough game to watch our young men lose that night. But did a great job throughout the season. Again, it was a very tough season because of COVID, and all these young men and young ladies who played, you know, had to follow our mitigations the best we could. You know, so we're very proud of them. Again, had a very good regular season, made it to the region, won the region, made it to the state before losing in the semifinals. Coach Day, you want to say a few words?
Yeah, I guess so. Thank you for inviting us here. But like I said, we've been to the state, you know, 4 straight years, state playoffs, chance to win the state championship. Came close a couple of times. Just got to get over that hump. One of these days, we're going to be the last man standing. We've been to the regional championship, you know, 4 straight years in a row. And what was different about this year, you had to win the region to go to the state, and we did. And it was a heck of a game. I mean, it was disappointing for the kids, but they deserve all the credit. You know, I'm just a guy that's, I don't know, bringing the equipment, I guess. But, I mean, those guys, and all we ask for our kids, and, I mean, Coach Carter and Coach Toran, y'all just don't know how much they do for us. And, you know, we do for the kids is what we do. I mean, it's nice to win, but we just want our guys to compete. And that's all we preach all year, is just go out and compete. Not against the other team, but with yourself. And that's all we've preached all year. And, you know, we didn't have an undefeated regular season, and I think that helped us, you know, getting to the playoffs and playing. I think we played very well. You know, I get one thing that means a lot to me. I got an email from the coach from Broad Run, who we lost to in the semifinals, and he just said he loves the way our kids compete. He said they were all in, they played for each other, they were, you know, very aggressive everywhere, and they just played. They were all in, and they competed for you, and that's all I ask. And Broad Run did end up winning the state championship, you know, 2 days later, and that could have easily been us, but it's going to fall that way sooner or later.
Coach, I understand that several of them are going to college and play
yes.
ball in a couple all-state.
Yes,
kids
we
as
had.
well.
I mean, we didn't have a all-district meeting, an all-regional meeting, an all-state meeting. But I'm sure a bunch of our guys will have been all-district. But we got one. Jackson Lloyd's going to VMI. Leo Noblin's going to King College. Let's see who else we got. Anthony's going to Concord. Joey Duffer's going to Concord. Gavin Caldwell's going to Averett. Nathan Comer's going to Averett to play. Missing anybody? In Jackson, we got Jackson Newton, who played right field and DH for us. He's going to play golf at Marymont, right? I mean, it's a big deal. We want our kids to play all the sports anyway. I mean, we want them all. And some other good news that people that don't watch it, but a former player got drafted today in the 53rd pick overall. Andrew Abbott got drafted by the Cincinnati Reds today, and as soon as it happened, I don't say much about it, but I drove to his house, and I told him how proud we were of him, and he's going to do big things because he's done big things already, and it's fun to watch kids like that, and I'm sure we're going to have some kids over here watching on TV one of these days. So just stay with us and appreciate all the support you give us. Again.
I want to thank you, board, again for allowing us to recognize these athletes. All of our athletes do a tremendous job, and we're very proud of them. Thank you.
Next item on the agenda are the reports. First one is Halifax Virtual School with Mrs. Hastings.
Good evening, Madam Chairman, Vice Chairman, and school board members. My name is Melanie Hastings, and I'm the Virtual Learning Coordinator for Halifax County. I'm excited that we can continue to offer a virtual learning option for our students. Some components of virtual learning will remain the same, but there will be some changes. Key components of the virtual program include: students and teachers will continue to use Canvas as a learning management system. Teachers will no longer have to manage concurrent teaching. Their section will be fully face-to-face or fully virtual, but not a combination of both. This year will include more structure for students. They will participate in a live session for every class, every day, with their cameras on. Students and teachers will have more frequent, meaningful interactions. Our current numbers for elementary school is 53 students. For secondary is a total of 183. That breakdown is 59 middle school students and 124 high school students. That gives us a grand total of 236 virtual students, or 5% of our total division enrollment. I have personally called every household that has chosen virtual to ensure that students and parents are aware of expectations. With that said, I do have about 30 calls remaining, and I plan to take care of those tomorrow. So some of our numbers may still change a little bit one way or the other. All of our elementary students are going to participate in Virtual Virginia. Those students have already been enrolled in Virtual Virginia. Their teachers will still be licensed teachers. They are just not local teachers. And I'm currently working with the middle and high school to build the master schedule with the resources that we have available. I'm looking forward to a great year. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hastings. Second item is the Claude Monet Grant, Dr. Waltz.
Good evening, Madam Chairman, board members, and Dr. Lindberg, and Halifax County citizens. I'm very excited tonight to bring good news to you in that we have received the Claude Moore Scholarship Foundation grant in the amount of $250,000, the second year in a row for our School of Health and Medical Science, and therefore have deemed it appropriate to name that career-focused school the Claude Moore School of Health and Medical Science. This school focuses on careers in the healthcare field on every level, from the person working in food services, laundry, or housekeeping, to the CNA, the RN, or the brain surgeon. Currently, we are teaching pathways in certified nursing assistant and pharmacy tech with supporting classes, and this year we're adding sports medicine, which will be a pathway to athletic training, physical and occupational therapy, and PT and OT aids. With these funds we will receive, we will be adding medical coding and billing and other new healthcare classes in the future. I'd like to share with you 3 of the things we have been able to purchase with this year's funds. First of all, we have purchased t-shirts for our more than 350 healthcare students. You have one laying on the table for you, and if you need a different size, just please come by school and exchange it. We purchased these t-shirts. We will have a community, our health and medical science days every so often, where students will wear these shirts and show that the high school and the other students there that this is a community. We're building, we're collaborating on different things, and encourage other students to ask questions and maybe join this school. We also have purchased a 14-passenger bus. This bus does not require a CDL license to drive it, and we purchased this bus to transport our CNA students back and forth to the hospital. This bus is on the parking lot right out back here, and I'd like to encourage you, when this meeting is over, when you take your break, to please go outside and look at it. It is very, very nice, and we are very fortunate to have it. We will be using this bus to transport those students to the hospital, but when the bus is available for other things, whether it be sports or field trips or anything else, this bus can be used for those things. We have needed something like this for a long time, so fortunately, with this grant, we were able to purchase that. And lastly, we have purchased a life-size virtual dissection table that includes images of 4 real cadavers where students will use as they learn body parts, body systems, how they're placed in the bodies, how they work together. I'm especially excited to see this tool in action this spring, and when it arrives this fall, I'd like to invite you over to see how it works. I am really, really excited to see how this thing works, and maybe some of you would like to become a surgeon so you can do this. We're looking really forward to doing things like this with other schools, other career-focused schools in the future, but I'd like to thank you for your support of this, and don't forget to go right outside and take a look at the bus right after this meeting. Thank you so much.
Mrs. Hall with personnel status report.
Madam Chair, Vice Chair, Dr. Lindenberg, members of the board. This evening, I would like to share with you an updated status on our employee turnover since the June school board meeting. The numbers that I'm going to share this evening are significantly lower, certainly, than our previous report. We have 7 teachers that have resigned since the June meeting. We have 3 classified resignations, and we have 4 retirements. At this time, I would like to share some of the reasons for leaving. Now, the reasons for leaving are not exclusive to the resignations that we have just for this month. There were a couple of reasons that I left off last month, and a couple of teachers reminded me of that. So some reasons for leaving: family issues, career advancement, compensation left for better paying jobs, the school board's lack of support on issues relating to employee compensation and other issues, secured gainful employment closer to home, thus eliminating or shortening the travel time, and certainly saving gas costs. Also, we have spouses that secured jobs outside of the district. We have also school administration, a lack of concern in dealing with collab classroom settings. And of course, these are just some of the reasons. Fortunately, there's always a challenge filling any vacancy, but I want to thank our school administration for aggressively seeking qualified candidates to fill the vacancies, and school board members, you do have our personnel reporting. You can see those vacancies that we are filling. We have recently participated in the local job fair sponsored by the Chamber. We had a lot of interest at our booth, of course. And we are also continuing to expand our recruiting efforts by posting our vacancies on various platforms. Again, we thank you for your support, and we ask all of you to check our website. Our job postings are there. If you know of an individual who is qualified, interested in being a part of our team, please encourage them to apply for anything they may think that they're eligible or qualified to do. And certainly they can call the HR department at any point, any time. So we welcome anyone to be a part of our team in Halifax County. I think we have a very good school division. And of course, we're going to continue to fill the vacancies that we have left. Thank you, board.
Thank you, Ms. Hall.
Madam Chair, I have a question for Ms. Hall, please.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. I'm sorry.
Ms. Hall, how you doing?
Fine, thank you.
Good, good. I noticed we had 8 people. I think we had 7 last month. How many last month? Was it more than that?
Oh, yeah. We were in the teens close to the 20th, yes.
Last month?
Yes.
So totally, what's going on? About 20-something?
Yes, or a little more. We'll probably have about 30, I'm sure.
30 resignations?
Probably by the end of...
That's not including retirement?
Well, some of them are retirements. Some are retirements, but a large majority, more than normal, are resignations.
Okay. How many of those we going to fill?
We are aiming to fill all of those positions were positions that were needed.
What's gonna happen if we don't?
Well, I think that what normally happens, Mr. Potts, in case we are unable to fill a position, we get a long-term sub, we continue to actively seek to fill that position. Some positions are filled once the school year begins, but I think we're on track. I think we are doing an excellent job, and I think we're filling positions. So our principals are interviewing. We're still interviewing today, even this week. So some of those appointments are not on this particular month's personnel report. It will show up in the August report. So please know that they were interviewing today also. And I know they have a number of people scheduled to interview tomorrow.
I noticed that, and this is not saying that this area is more interesting than the others, but I was informed that one of our English teachers left, didn't we? That we've had here a while, what you told me? Was English teacher left there, I don't know how many years she had, but apparently she had been here a while. And I'm wondering how we're coming in that and how we're doing with the SPED teachers, because that seemed like an area that we had a number of people that left here last month too.
We did have a number of people. We are filling those vacancies. We still have some SPED positions, but they are constantly being interviewed for those positions. Special education positions, not only that it's a challenge for Halifax County, but it's a challenge throughout the state of Virginia. That's why there are many options for individuals with degrees to become a special education teacher. We have a career switcher program in the state. We have also worked with colleges and universities where an individual with a bachelor's degree can take a course, particular course from a college and receive their provisional license, which would give them an additional 3 years to complete all of the requirements for the special education endorsement. So that's a lot of flexibility that we have, state knowing that we have such a problem that is nationwide, but it is certainly a state issue. And our state Department of Education, they are certainly giving us flexibility and getting some good people to fill those positions.
How many people like that have we gotten so far?
We have quite a few people with provisional license. Mr. Potts, we have some people that have been holding the provisional license for longer than 3 years for the simple reason because of COVID-19.
Right.
The department extended the 3-year time frame for becoming fully certified or licensed. They have been extended up to 8 years. So we have people who are working diligently to get that endorsement. We have also contracted with a company that's providing our teachers with tutors and also study guides. They're helping getting them ready to take the assessments.
That's including the core work and the assessments, right?
I'm sorry, including what?
The core work?
Yes, including the coursework, yes, and the assessments, yes.
Madam Chair, are you finished, Ms. Bond?
No, but I'll shut up.
Oh.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
There are a lot of people, a lot of teachers that we're hiring without any experience. Do we still have the mentoring program in place?
Yes, we do. Lisa Long is certainly in charge. Was Lisa here? Yeah, the mentoring program. We do have that in place. Lisa has been constantly working with me, asking about the number of people that we have that are coming in without experience, and those that are coming in with experience but may not have experience with Halifax County. They're also included in a portion of that mentorship program.
Because you know those SPED positions can be challenging.
Absolutely, yes.
And are these teachers going to be given a stipend to work with these?
Yes, we do have mentors that are assigned to our people, and they are paid to be mentors to these teachers. And Lisa meets with them very frequently. I think at least once a month or more. Some on site and some group meetings. So that has been very effective.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sandra, for that. The reason I keep bringing this up about SPED because I have a special interest in SPED because I got some training in that. And the thing about it, you just can't take somebody off the street and put them there with your child. I don't care what anybody tells you, don't believe that. They got to have some good training.
Right.
And somebody coming in first year and just have to take one class or maybe they're gonna have to take more in one class. It's something that we really need to take a look at and try to do more mentoring, more recruiting, something else to get these kids here. But it's gonna be hard to get them here because we're not paying them.
Right, exactly.
That's why we're not getting them. That's why we're losing them. We might as well face the reality. That's what's going on in this county. It's been going on ever since I've been on the board. I won't even tell you how long that's been, but that's what's going on. That's why we are losing teachers. And I'm glad you decided to put that in here with the personnel report without us having to put it on there, because the people need to understand that we got a serious problem here. We got a serious problem here. We can build a new school, but we can't build a new school and don't have nobody in there.
Absolutely.
As far as teachers are concerned. So we got to do both of this. We got to build a school, or whatever we're gonna do or renovate, but we're gonna have to put better teachers and better paying teachers in our school system. And that responsibility kind of falls on us, but let's put the blame. I'm gonna put the blame where I want it to be. That's on the board of supervisors, because they need to give us the money, because we can't get the money. We got to spend every dime and nickel on all this other stuff, just the upkeep of the school, not for the new school, just for the upkeep. Because as long as I've been here, all we have done is reduce, and all we get is little piecemeal stuff. That's why, you know, it's finally taking a toll on us. Whether we want to admit it or not, it's finally taking a toll. That's why we are losing so many teachers. The board of supervisors need to get off of it and give us some money, not only to do either renovation or purchase of land or whatever we need to do to get this school system on the road. Because right now we're not on the road. We're rolling all right, but we're rolling backwards. And you don't want to know what the outcome is going to be, because it's going to be bad. Y'all can talk about all this other stuff you want to. If we don't do something to improve the school system, it's going to be bad, folks. I'm giving you doom and gloom, because that's what's coming up. And it's going to come up in the next few years. You're going to see. But I appreciate you guys trying to. I know all the principals are trying to do what they can, but it's hard to do that when you can't get the salaries up to where we want to get these teachers to have. We have to work toward doing that. We have to continue doing that. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Potts. Yes, ma'am.
I have another comment.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Potts, you indicated that, I don't know, maybe I drew the wrong conclusion, but I'm not saying that we have not hired outstanding candidates, but if they're not given the proper guidance, I don't want them to be frightened away. And that's that initial year. If they're not given the guidance that they need, they will very easily select to go, to another profession. And we've got to believe that we've hired the best people for the job, and with the proper guidance, I believe that we can hold on to them, and after we address the salary scale, that they will be with us for a while. And I'm believing that even those people that have left the county, they love Halifax County, but they left for more money. And if we beef up that scale, I think we have a chance of getting some of those seasoned people back.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Coleman. Thank you, Ms. Hall. Mr. Ayler, we have the ESSER 3 fund.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board, Dr. Lindenberg. As you may recall, back in June, I shared with you the funding that came through from the American Rescue Plan that was signed into law on March 21st. This is just an update to let you know where we are with the application, which is due September 1st. The total funding, as you may recall, was $11,170,000. A certain amount of that had to address unfinished learning. Loss of instruction time will be addressed. Program resources and a variety of other methods to meet the needs of the students will be addressed. What we did, staff developed a application, and for each school we allocated $750 per student based on the 1920 student enrollment. As you can see, and I'm not going to go through each one of them, the allocation by school, they had to develop a plan as to address the learning loss, and you can see briefly the areas that they are making attempts to address that cause. In addition, $2.2 million was addressed across the school system for special education. And the remaining for social, emotional, and mental needs was targeted at 5%, which is $558,000. We're still working on the remaining of the funds as needed for buses, laptops, technology, capital improvements. We will be working on that going forward and make sure that it's part of the application that is actually due to the Department of Education by September 1st.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Chair. Go ahead, Sam. I yield.
Madam Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
This is directed to Dr. Lindenberg. At one time, we had a position at the middle school. I called that person an at-risk counselor, but I might be using the wrong title. Are we building in more of those people? Because we don't think that our young people, you know, as adults, sometimes we kind of, you know, brush off the fact that children have mental issues, but some of them really do deal with a lot of stuff because of, you know, some of them are in dysfunctional settings as far as, you know, the home environment, and they do deal with some issues that they need to, you know, have addressed. Are we adding some more of those people in now since we have these funds?
Yes, ma'am. If you look at Halifax County Middle School, one of the things that they are adding into their grant is a behavior specialist.
Yeah, that's the term I'm looking for.
We recognize that getting students back into routine and those kind of things are going to be a challenge. Right. And just having a comprehensive approach. So we do that, and we also have some student support specialists at the high school and the middle school
very good.
as well to kind of bring all of it together for us.
Yeah, because we do have some issues going on that children are dealing with, and we always say that they are molehills, but they're mountains for our children. You know, as adults, we just cannot, you know, just brush that aside, and we have to, because they're very fragile, and they internalize a lot. And if we have someone working with them that would, you know, help them to be better people, that would surely, you know, help our school district and our overall, you know, those are sub areas that we need to address especially when the SOLs roll around. Those are subcategories, those groups of children. I'm not, Mr. Potts, I'm sorry.
Mr. Ayler.
Yes, sir.
That $2.2 million that we're going to give the SPED, am I wrong in understanding that money can't go towards salaries?
No, it cannot.
I just want to make sure y'all knew that. I want to make sure y'all knew that. See? So they said, well, what Pot's talking about? That's what I'm talking about.
No,
we get $2.2 million, but we can't use it for salaries. It's got to be for what?
This is to address the learning laws. This is providing additional staff in order to bring the children up to where they grade level.
This is extra pay.
Yeah, but not extra pay for the teachers.
No. The federal regs are very specific as how this can be addressed, and we've been working diligently in collaboration with the Department of Education, and they are very tight as to how this can be used. We make the application, they still have to approve it, and if it's not in accordance with the federal regulations, it's going to, you know, come back to us unapproved.
Thank you.
That's true, because that's been floating around.
Thank you, Mr. Ayler.
For construction. And maybe, yeah, Mr. Potts, maybe we do need to make that clear. ESSA funds cannot be used for construction. Mr. Ayler, please.
It has to be connected to COVID. It
Yes,
could be. It could be used for
HVAC and
capital.
that kind of stuff.
The primary intent of the ESSER 3 funding is for student learning loss. That's why you see over 50% of it in there. You could use it for that, and we probably will use some of it. We have our ESSER 2 funding. We used it to update the HVAC unit the HVAC at Scottsburg Elementary School, where we're getting ready to do that, and so the ESSER 3 you certainly can, and we will utilize some of it, but it has to be, you have to do, or we will attempt to in our application, but you've got to tie it to COVID-19 and the challenges there, yes.
But no brick and mortar.
No brick and mortar.
Okay, make that clear.
The Department of Education has come up with a form in addition to the application that you have to submit anything that's dealing with capital improvement has to be addressed and sent in advance. in order to be included in your application that's due.
Okay.
They
very
are
good.
very, I guess, tight as far as what you can submit and what gets approved.
Because that's been floating around. So we just need to make that clear.
Thank you, Mr. Ayler. Next item of business is unfinished business, and we have none. The next item is new business, and we need a delegate and an alternate to attend the VSBA annual convention. And if there's anyone of you that is interested in being the delegate and an alternate, please speak up. Okay, all right.
Who's attending?
Anyone wants to attend that convention?
I've signed up for it, but I'm not going to be a delegate or an alternate.
Okay,
Same here.
okay. Chair and vice chair? Mr. Moser? Okay. Do we need a vote on this? Okay. All right, first, the delegate would be me, so I guess I need a motion for that and a second.
I motion that the, pardon me? Oh, you said, okay. I motion that the chair and vice chair serve as delegate and alternate.
Okay, did we do that right? Okay. All right, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And all those opposed? Is there any discussion? Doggone. y'all.
Congratulations.
Okay, Mr. Moser.
For being
Okay.
elected.
All right. Okay. Second item is the employment compensation. Dr. Lindberg.
Madam Chair and members of the board, and Jeff, if you could put the PowerPoint up, please. It's a PowerPoint. So that'll help cue us in. Before you have something that we've been working on for months, as you're aware of School Board Goal 4, that's really what we're focusing in on tonight. So I start with the PowerPoint that's in your packet, and I hope Jeff can get it up there, is a budget is a reflection of the priorities of a community and the goals of the school board. And so last spring we had a tough budget. We kind of had as COVID started, we had to have some cutbacks and so forth. And then we got into this year when we had the original governor's budget, we were expecting only a bonus for our employees. And so we kind of our budget was never really to address a large encompassing salary scale. Now we think we're poised to do it, and this plan is an effort. We've worked together as a school system. We've been working with the Board of Supervisors on this, and I think you'll see that working on compensation together, we think is our best chance to get this accomplished. So I'm going to take you through this step by step. And this is not a binding document. This is our aspiration. This is where we want to go. And you'll see that the school division is taking a ton of responsibility for addressing compensation, but we need some help. And I think there's all kinds of lines for help right now in our school system. And I want to take my time and answer your questions as we go through it. So you have a memorandum in front of you that breaks it down, and you also have a PowerPoint. Okay. So let's go through the PowerPoint first, okay? So the second slide is our goals, and our goals is to improve compensation for all employees in our division, all employees, okay? And as we continue to go there, how will we get there? How are we going to get this done? Is we always got to put student learning first. We always got to talk about efficiency. We always got to think about maintaining relationships and recognize that revenue will decrease over time in the future. And I'm really talking about the ESSER money. That is going to go away in 3 years, so it's not permanent for salary, we have added on positions, but this is important. So Jeff, next slide. Okay, I don't know if you can hit there or not, but this is just an example of teamwork. I don't know if that'll show or not under that format. Okay, I always like to show a video of teamwork. It was our basketball team against GW Danville when I always say, and I've shared this with board members in the past, Coach Williams coached the team to the regional championship. It was a great event for us. The crowd went crazy and so forth. But on that team, we had folks that didn't agree with the coach and didn't agree with playing time, but we all worked together to get there. And this is what I think compensation has got to be. It's got to be us working with the Board of Supervisors. And I think that we're in an era right now of working together, and that's exciting. We're willing to help out however we can. Okay, so we'll go to the next slide, and this is really getting into the meat of it here. Okay. So if you look at the slide, compensation for all and the teacher salary scale. So to get everybody on the scale, the teacher scale, and that's just what I'm focusing on right now. To get everybody on teacher scale exactly where they need to be, it would cost $1.8 million. One of the speakers was accurate tonight, is that we have tried to condense the scale, but still as we've condensed it, the bottom is right, but there are points when you get years in that are not accurate as far as the years of experience. So you could have 20 years with us, but you could be on step 10, and we're trying to work your way up through it, but that's the challenge that we have, and to put everybody on the years, the exact year where they would be, it would be a $1.86 million adjustment. Now, when we began to put this together, this is like putting together a puzzle. I didn't want it to say all the just go ask the Board of Supervisors for money and so forth. So how are we going to do this? How do we get there? So as we got through last school year with COVID, we had 19 vacancies that we didn't fill, and we will fill most of those this year. But there are some vacancies that we've learned, okay, we don't need, and we think that as we get into next year, we have a potential savings in positions of around $500,000. Okay, and so some positions will be filled, but we think there's enough positions there that we could save $500,000. Okay, so that's step one, and that's important to know. Step one is $500,000. That's what we put into the salary scale so far. The second one is carryover funds. Now this is the one that I think we really got to pay attention to, because you can't use carryover funds residually. That said, you have to remember we have not operated fully as a school division for over 2 years. And since I put this PowerPoint together, the number is over $3 million as far as end of the year carryover funds that are left over. And folks will say, well, why do you have that money left over? We've operated about 30 or 40% the last 2 years, 60% 2 years ago, 30, 40% this year. And being unclear on where we go with capital projects, we've reserved this money, and in conversations with the Board of Supervisors, I said reserve it, and maybe we can back our way into building this scale over time by using some of this reserve money. So we think we have over $3 million there, well over $3 million there. Okay, so keep that in mind. Okay, so you have $3 million there, and that money will go away eventually, but you could use it to back in so you could cause less hardship on them on our funding body, and that's really always been a goal here, is to infringe as little as possible on our citizens. Okay, the third part would be a one-time retirement buyout, and again, all this is a working document. This is conceptual. If we want to change this, we can. So if you offered a one-time buyout, one-time cost of $15,000 for up to and get 40 employees to go, those that have 30 years into it, and you could get $750,000 there, and you had 30 to 40 to leave, we think you could have a savings of $600,000 because you bring in as you trade in higher employees, you get folks with less years of experience, and the trade-off you get $600,000. So 600 plus 500,000 is $1.1 million. Now, I've got to be honest at this point with you on it, is that when we do that we're going to lose lots of veteran people and some great folks. There will be growing pains when that happens, but you are committing to the long-term viability of our school system. You're committing to teachers hanging out, and it's going to take. There will be growing pain. There'll be turnover that would occur as a result of it. Okay, so So for scale investment, what we're saying is that it's 1.1 million over $1.1 million to the school division, and $380,000 over 2 years, or 1 cent per year for the county. Or I don't even know that you could even spread that out, because we have this reserve from carryover funding. Right now, our agreement with the county is that it's for capital. We could change that agreement, and we could extend this thing out, and we could chunk it over a number of years to get there. Okay, so then you'd have 186, and so you got to come up with 764 from the Board of Supervisors investment. So we're coming up with about 1.1 million. So we're coming up with 60-some% of the money, 65% of the funding, and I think it's fair if we're asking the Board of Supervisors to help, that we help as well in getting this. So it's tightening it down and so forth. Now, what does this look like? We cut positions, and our teachers are going to have to live with this. It will cause sometimes some classroom sizes to increase. Okay, I think that's what that means, is when you cut it back, there's going to be some increases in class size, but it creates a more stable workforce for us, and more consistency year to year would be the aspiration. Okay, now I want to continue to move, and Jeff, if you would go to the next slide, please. Okay. Lost my place here. Okay, Jeff, if you go to the next slide after, where it says support staff. Okay.
That's it.
Yes. Okay. All right. There it is. Compensation for all. One of the things that our board asked when we set our goals was, how do we do compensation for all? And that would be for every employee, which would include support staff and administration. Now, some of you and some folks, as I've vetted this, have gone through this, and they picked out flaws in it, and that helps me, because this is not a perfect document yet. I mean, this is where we're going. So to address support staff and administration, to get them on the same scales or same competitive wage as our surrounding communities, it would cost another $797,000. So how do we get there on that? How do we get there for that way? So you would take additional money from vacancy savings. So if we had more in vacancy savings, we would chip away at it there. If we had additional money in buyout funds, we would take it from there. If we had teacher scale adjustment and so forth, and we had ended up with more money there, we would take it for there. And then if there's any overage from board supervisors, you would take it from there. Now, here's the key point to it is if we go down this path and we agree that we're putting $1.1 million in, and we're backing in and get $760,000 of support from the Board of Supervisors, then our number one goal in our budget next year would be, if we address the teacher pay that way, our number one goal then would be support staff, and then administration last, because you would address it on the front end first. Do you understand what I'm saying there? You'd say, okay, we're fixing teacher scale, that's our top priority, fix it first, and then if that were addressed, then when we got extra revenue from the state, then we would take it to support staff, okay? And administration would be last, and that's how you begin to build this. Okay, so Jeff, if you go to the end, okay, all right, so for scale investment, $1.1 million from the school division, and you could use 2 years of carryover money or 1 cent investment, and you back into it. Okay, and then you take for support staff. You see, we need $797, and then you make that, if we get extra revenue from the state this year, which I think we will, then you put it in there that way. So you have some pots of money there to utilize. Now, here is the word of caution. Compensation must be continually addressed. We didn't get here overnight. This is years and years of it, and so if all you do is fix it and you stop, then it's going to continue to be a challenge on it. Okay, so here's just a sketch of a potential timeline. But what I think needs to happen is we've had 2x2s with the Board of Supervisors. It's been Ms. Fraley and Mr. Camp and I, with Mr. Pinnell and Mr. Ricketts. We need to continue to massage this, okay? okay? And then we get in the middle of August, if this is around we go, we ask our employees about a retirement incentive, okay? And then we begin the budget discussion. Then we commit to the retirement incentive, and then we determine which positions that are out there, and then we begin to fix the scale in that way, okay? Jeff, let me see if I have anything out there. I mean, and then I put it at the end here, extra funds from, if they're, the first group that is fixed, so in conversations with our governing body, this board of supervisors, the thing that we hear the most is fix the teacher scale first. Okay, so that's what we do, and then from there, we take the extra funds from vacancy and retirement savings, go to support staff, and then the administration comes last, okay, as far as fixing it. This is not a perfect plan yet, okay, and I need your help on it. But this is a plan to help us get there, and I think it shows our partners and our colleagues in the Board of Supervisors that we're serious, that we're willing to work on it and address it. And if we're asking them for some help, then we're going to address ours as well. So I would like for us to just, you know, vote in support of it tonight. It doesn't mean that it's binding at all. It just says, hey, this is a good direction, but we can continue to tweak it or whatever it may be. But that would be my request tonight, is that you say, listen, this is in general conceptual, that we would support something like this.
Yes.
Dr. Lindenberg, first, thank you for the presentation. I'm looking over the PowerPoint presentation, and I noticed that we advanced through the slideshow and started, I don't know, several pages in from what I have on the email. And from my own perspective, when I look at the salary scale and what I hear when I talk to people in the community, it's always in comparison to surrounding counties.
Mm-hmm.
So in order for me to really have a better understanding of where your proposal fits, I would need some, you know, copies of the salary scales for the other counties. Okay. Is that something that you can provide to us so that we, you know, if we're going to tackle this project, then we need to tackle it completely.
Okay.
And make sure that we are being competitive.
Yeah. That easy enough to get there, and I don't know if we have that. That's easy to get to. And if you would look at the memo here, it has the increases as well there. And the other thing I would point out is that on your email, I took some of the facility part of it out, just to try to make it a little bit easier tonight. So some of the information may not all the information is there, and that was, yeah.
I have a comment too, Dr.
Yes, ma'am.
Based on Mr. Lloyd, have you been getting emails from teachers? I have actually been getting emails comparing, and I'll just give you a comparative figure. 20 years of experience in Mecklenburg, it's a difference of about $11,000 in pay. 49,000. She said if I were to come back there this year, I would be making 49,000. I can stay in Mecklenburg and make 62 or 61. It's just that much of a difference. But I understand what you wanted. But I've got numerous emails like that.
Yes, ma'am, I have as well. That's what led to the question. I would like to see those numbers so that we can compare it, and when we're tackling the issue, that we fix it. You know, we don't.
Yeah, we're behind.
We don't
Mr. Lloyd.
hit parts of it. We hit all of it while we working on this topic.
Do you have any more discussion?
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Dr. Lindenberg, how do we incorporate the bus and car drivers in this scale?
So I mean, Bob, if you would help me with this too on it, is we compared them to the county. We took every one of our pay scales and compared them to the counties that surrounded us. And so part of the reason we need feedback from you is if something's not accurate, let us know on it or whatever. Bob, do you want to add anything on that?
I mean, when y'all approved this graded pay plan back in 2019, we did all of that analysis, and basically what I've done is basically brought it forward based on salary increases within this school system. But I can certainly get the surrounding counties for you and give you the comparison to date.
Yeah.
But, you know, when you approved the plan back in 2019, all of that was done. And I used Charlotte, Mecklenburg, Pittsylvania, Danville, and Campbell County.
And from what I recall in 2019, when we left there, we were very satisfied where we were with the starting pay.
Yes,
Where our
we are.
concern was year 8 to maybe year 20, somewhere in that range. That's what I recall from those meetings. And the second thing that I recall, and I'm still a little bit concerned by the proposal, is that, you know, each year we've made it a priority to address support staff. And every year that is the one group that gets neglected. I mean, I understand that we do want to do better for our teachers. I get that, but I know we also want to do better for the support staff. So that does concern me as well, that we're pushing that even farther down the road.
Because I know the salaries are very generous, you know, on this scale that you have now. But, you know, as far
what
as
scale are
bus
you
and
referencing?
car, the draft sheet that he gave us.
Oh, what he just gave us?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, very good.
But I just don't see the bus and car drivers incorporated in this.
Okay.
We will-
I think we've got to look at, we can't leave them behind.
We will look at them. We did look at as a committee to deal with Goal 4. We looked at them and compared them to the surrounding school districts, and we basically were we're richer with our pay than the surrounding ones. But basically, their pay, as I understand it, Keith, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's based on number of miles traveled per day. So I can include it on the graded pay plan, but it's going to be a little different as far as its setup.
I'd like to see some of those figures on these
Okay.
other counties, because I know Roanoke County, they get paid by the hour.
Now, I didn't do Roanoke County. I
It's
did
pretty generous, so.
Charlotte, Mecklenburg, Pennsylvania, Danville, and Campbell.
Yeah, I think we need to look at some of these other counties before we make a decision on it.
I don't have a problem with that, but as far as Roanoke, they're a little bit size-wise different than we are.
Thank you.
I have a question. How would the minimum wage increase by the state impact the total budget?
For the upcoming year, it should be minimum. We've already,
We did that last year.
for the past year,
Okay, good.
it only affected certain positions, and we made those adjustments, and we will make the adjustments again going forward.
So in this proposal, we're gonna make sure that we include the custodians and secretaries and stuff as well.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Madam Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
I think we need to adopt this preliminary. It's a rough draft, and Dr. Lindenberg has already said that it's a work in process, but at least we need to adopt this as a working document and make adjustments, you know, next month or whatever we need to do. It's not anything concrete, so I would like to put a motion on the floor to accept this working document so we can move forward, because we don't need to keep kicking this down the road. We can make adjustments next month to satisfy Mr. Lloyd.
Yes, ma'am. So you're making a motion for that?
I'm making a motion that we adopt this working document here, and I want to put it on the floor so we can move forward, because we need to put something together in order to have talking points when we meet with the Board of Supervisors.
Yes, ma'am. All right, do I have a second on this motion?
Second.
Thank you. All right. All those in favor, say
Excuse me,
aye.
Madam
Oh,
Chair,
I'm sorry.
question.
Discussion. I'm sorry.
I have discussion. And I know we're using the word adopt that document. I'm not exactly sure I understand what adopting it would mean. I'm in favor of authorizing Dr. Lindenberg to explore it further.
No,
We
no.
may be saying the same thing.
No,
I just want to
no.
make sure.
Explore meaning we just make adjustments to this document. This is not anything that we're saying that's a concrete adoption, or how do I need to state that? But it's a work in process. It
Okay.
can be, you know, it can be changed.
Okay. So, I mean, is that the same as we authorize Dr. Lindenberg to move forward? Is that the same? I
No,
just want to
it's
make sure I
not.
understood the motion correctly.
This is a beginning point for us.
Okay,
It can only get better or it can get worse.
okay.
Okay. Again, any other discussion?
I'll pass.
Pass?
Okay. All right, could I get the motion repeated one more time, please? Ms. Coleman?
I motion that the preliminary figures here that Dr. Lindenberg is using to compile a working document to address the salary scale in our school district be adopted.
Okay, do I have a second? Is there any further discussion? Okay. All right.
I've got something.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Fraley. So this, just so everybody understands, this is just it's just a working document
Yes.
going forward. These figures can change.
Yes.
So this is the framework that we're using
To spring from.
to fix this compensation problem. I mean, it has been work going on in this area, so, I mean, this is not a concrete, hard and fast, this is the way it's gonna look, because these numbers can change. This is just the process with which we're going to come to a solution.
Right.
And you've already pointed out some things, I mean, in conversations tonight, I mean, and just as I vetted with a couple people, I mean, this is a gigantic document here, or dynamic and document that is, you know, that we gotta continue to address. I mean, I've already heard 2 or 3 things, and just vetting it tonight and with other folks last, you know, in the weeks past. So I mean, I think it needs to be updated, and we keep working on it. But everybody keep on helping us with it. And Kathy and I and Jay are on the committee there with the board supervisors, try to work together
To
get
solidify
that.
it.
Yeah.
Okay, is there any more discussion? Okay, all right. So all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And all those opposed? It's been passed. Third item on new business is facilities workshop date. Dr. Lindberg.
Madam Chair, members of the board, I talked to Branch Builds. We had a good meeting last week and continue to move forward talking about facilities, and they are available to do a work session with just our board on August. Let me pull the dates up here. They can do it anytime after 1:30 on August the August the 2nd, 3rd, or 4th, Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. They can do it at any time on those days for a work session on high school and elementary facilities discussion.
Any day is fine for me. I don't know about everybody else, but either one of those days would be fine for me. You said August, give me those dates again?
August 2nd, 3rd, or 4th.
The 4th, I won't be here.
Okay, so that gives us August 2nd and 3rd.
2nd and 3rd?
The 2nd or 3rd is fine with me, whichever day.
Okay, let's do Tuesday, August the 3rd, and what's a good time for everybody?
AM.
It doesn't
They
matter to me.
gotta do it after 1:30.
Oh, after 1:30?
After 1:30,
oh,
yes.
that's fine.
1:30.
That's fine.
1:30?
That's fine.
3? Roy Key says 3. Get up, finish work and all that. 3 okay?
Oh, just for you, Mr. Lord. 3? That's fine.
Let's have it. Where would you like to have it? Where's best?
You make it any later, we don't have to eat.
Well, we can bring food, Ms. Coleman. How about, let's, where you want to do it, middle school? Yeah, just do it right here. Right here, we'll do it in the library here.
3 o'clock?
Yep.
Okay, sounds good.
Yep.
August 3rd?
August 3rd.
August 3rd at 3 o'clock at the middle school.
Yes.
Okay.
And Dr. Lindberg, for those people that were not at our session, could you make sure that we have copies of the layout?
Yes,
Okay.
I sure will. Yeah.
All right, thank you. So everybody will have those documents in front of them? Actually, if they could get them in advance so they can chew on them before.
Okay. All right, now I'm going to ask for the legal motion to go into closed session. And
Oh, you, Mr. Lord.
pursuant to Section 2.23711 of the Code of Virginia, I move that the board convene a closed meeting for the purpose of considering the following specific matters: personnel, the appointment, resignation, salaries, and performance of specific division employees as authorized by Section 2.23711.1 of the Code of Virginia.
Okay, do I have a second? Okay, all those, we now, are we going into closed session?
We got to vote? Oh, did we vote?
Do we vote? Oh, all in favor say aye.
Aye.